Look at a wolf. Look at a silverback gorilla. Look at a tiger. You cannot easily tell exactly where they are looking, and there is a massive life-or-death biological reason for that. If you are an apex predator, you never want your prey to know you are tracking them. And if you are in a fight to the death with a rival, you absolutely cannot broadcast your next move. Concealing your gaze is a universal rule of survival on Earth. Except for you. You are the only primate on this planet with a massive bright white background surrounding your iris. Your eyes are a biological neon sign, broadcasting exactly what you are looking at to everyone around you, all the time. On paper, this is a fatal design flaw. We literally wear sunglasses at poker tables just to undo this exact biological feature, because your eyes were physically built to betray you. If our ancient ancestors were trying to survive in a brutal, prehistoric world surrounded by predators, why would evolution deliberately strip the camouflage from our eyes? Why would we intentionally give up physical stealth? Because your white eyes are the biological receipt of a terrifying gamble your ancestors took. In 1997, an evolutionary researcher named Hiromi Kobayashi at the Tokyo Institute of Technology realized something was completely wrong with the human face. She conducted a massive study examining the eyes of exactly half of all living primate species, 88 different species in total. From lemurs to macaques to chimpanzees, every single one of them had a dark sclera. The tissue around their iris was heavily pigmented to match their fur or their skin. Their eyes were naturally cloaked, but human eyes were a freak mutation. Our sclera was completely depigmented, stark white, and worse, our eyes were horizontally elongated, stretching that white canvas out even further, so any horizontal eye movement was impossible to hide. We were slow, we were hairless, we had no claws, and now we couldn't even hide where we were looking. But evolution never deletes a survival trait unless it is replacing it with a better one. Fast forward to 2007. The Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Leipzig, Germany. A cognitive scientist named Michael Tomasello set up an incredibly simple experiment that cracked the entire mystery open. He took human infants, barely 1 year old, unable to speak a single word, and put them in a room. Then he took adult great apes and put them in a similar room. A researcher sat directly across from them, kept their head perfectly still, and just moved their eyes to look up at the ceiling. The chimpanzees? They did absolutely nothing. Apes track head movement. If the researcher's head didn't point at the ceiling, the chimp didn't care. But the human infants? They immediately looked up at the ceiling. They tracked the eyes, not the head. Tomasello published this under a legendary scientific theory called the Cooperative Eye Hypothesis. Because humans lacked the physical armor and weapons of apex predators, our only weapon was each other. To survive the Pleistocene, we had to coordinate incredibly complex, dangerous hunting maneuvers in thick brush without making a single sound. We needed a silent, wireless communication network. You needed to look at a tribe mate 40 feet away in the tall grass, lock eyes, and instantly signal, "The mammoth is turning left." Evolution literally stripped the pigment out of our eyes so we could read each other's minds. We traded physical stealth for absolute transparency. And this biological hack was so incredibly powerful, we didn't just keep it in our own skulls. We forced it onto the only other animal we ever let near our campfires. In the early 2000s, researcher Brian Hare at the Duke Canine Cognition Center ran a series of tests on wolves and domesticated dogs. If you put a piece of meat under one of two cups, a wolf will just guess at random. But a domesticated dog? It will stop. It will look up at your face, and it will track the white of your eyes to see which cup you are looking at. Over tens of thousands of years, we selectively bred dogs to understand the exact same eye mutation that kept our ancestors alive. But here is the part of the story that all the textbooks miss. The cooperative eye hypothesis explains how we communicated. It does not explain the terrifying social cost of having white eyes. Think about the environment your brain evolved in. For roughly 300,000 years, you lived in small, tight-knit bands of about 150 people. Every single person in that group had access to heavy rocks and sharp spears. In a world like that, a selfish liar isn't an annoyance. A psychopath is a lethal threat to the entire tribe. If someone plans to steal your food or attack you while you sleep, you need to know. Evolution realized that deception was the greatest internal threat to human survival. So, evolution installed a biological polygraph test directly into your skull. Having white eyes means you cannot hide your attention. You cannot hide your fear, your surprise, or your guilt. Your pupil dilates. Your eyes dart toward the exit. Everyone can see exactly what you are focusing on. Evolution deliberately made human beings terrible liars because a tribe that cannot trust each other goes extinct in a single winter. Your eyes are white because absolute honesty was the admission price for human civilization. Which brings us back to you. Every time you look away during a difficult conversation, every time you wear sunglasses to hide a hangover, every time you try to act completely normal while your eyes dart around a room checking to see who is looking at you, you are dealing with ancient hardware. You are running a 300,000-year-old anti-deception program. You were fundamentally built to be perceived, to be known, to share your mind with the people standing next to you. But if our eyes are so perfectly designed for connection and trust, why does making prolonged eye contact with a stranger on the subway trigger a massive, primitive panic response in your chest? Why does staring at someone for just 3 seconds too long feel exactly like a physical assault? Well, that brings us to the evolutionary glitch known as the threat stare, and what happens when your brain thinks you are about to be eaten.